Hey, welcome to my channel, City Greens. I appreciate you being here. This is a channel where we teach you how to garden and how to make it easier for you, specifically with fruits and vegetables. Today is May 4th, and in growing zone 6A here, where I'm located, we are, by some accounts, I would say the account that we're going after, we are the second day of the growing season. You may be wondering, why the heck am I inside once again? Because I've been inside for the last 3 days or so. It's just raining a lot here in Michigan, and the garden is it's just very muddy, and it's just not worth it right now to go out there. So I figured we'd come in today and talk about and kind of review and show you how to set up an AeroGarden. And what I have here today specifically is the largest version of the AeroGarden. It's the Farmer XL, and according to the I don't know, the marketing, if you will, you can grow anything in these gardens, and these are indoor gardens, and it has everything, and really they're hydroponics. And if you're not familiar with hydroponics, which I'm sure you are because you watch a garden channel, but if you're not, hydroponics is basically growing things without soil. So it's just water. You have a medium such as, and I was going to show and tell a little bit later, but you have a medium such as this, like a fibrous material, obviously no soil. And you have some sort of solution which you use to get nutrients to the plants. And of course you have water, and of course you need your lighting system as well, which we'll see that in a couple minutes. I'm sure you can kind of see it beaming off of me right now. So yeah, I wanted to get one set up, and then, but before I do that, I think it's best to kind of just give an overview of these AeroGardens. There's actually many versions available. There's lots of them that you just sit right on top of your countertop, whether it's in the kitchen or wherever else in your house. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm always going to try to be honest in these videos. I've never had one of those, so I can't really speak to those, but I have been using the large version of these AeroGardens. And while it's true that you can grow anything in these, it's not true, especially if you're growing vegetables. You obviously can't grow fruits in here, but if you're growing vegetables, I have not personally been successful growing tomatoes. Let's take that as an example. Here's some cons, right? So number one, it seems like to me they take forever to fruit, and I don't know if I've been following the directions very closely, very religiously, and when the fruit does come, it doesn't taste very good. The skin is very thin, and it's just very watery. And I've seen other articles online and videos that kind of address this problem. And a tip or a trick, I have not tried myself, but one thing you could do perhaps is to starve it of water near the end, to kind of take out that water from that fruit. And then that's what people are saying, that's what it does, the trick. It makes it taste better. What I've been really successful with is, and this is what I think they're known for really, is growing lettuce. The lettuce always comes out pretty good. Of course, lettuce doesn't taste like anything, but the strength of the lettuce, the structure is pretty good. It's, with any time when you're indoors environment and you're using a solution like this, it's not going to be like it's from the garden. I mean, let's just be honest about that. You have micronutrients in there that you're not going to get into this unless you get a very specialized mixture. And that's why, if you're wondering why aren't all things grown indoors, it's because you can't replicate things, certain vegetables in the ground versus doing it hydroponically. You'll see a lot of hydroponic like lettuce because that's basically, there's not a worry about the taste factor. You'll see it in strawberries too, and some other fruits, but even the strawberries, they don't taste as good as they are if you grow them directly in the soil. So there's something to be said about the soil. But if you want to extend your growing season, like I do here in Michigan, I don't get that much. I mean, basically from November, well, I'd even say October. Basically from October to like, I don't know, March, April, it's pretty, like you can't grow anything outside, nothing. I mean, maybe you might be able to squeak out a little bit more. And I keep looking out a window here, so if you're wondering why I keep looking that way, it's because there's a window. But if you may be able to squeak out, growing cold weather vegetables like cauliflower and broccoli and stuff like that, or cabbage. But the most part is, you got a limited window here. So, anyways, let's hop right into it. Let me show you first how to just get this going. And today we are going to be planting lettuce, and I bought this seed collection pack off of Amazon, and it's got everything. I mean, it's got red ruby lettuce, oak leaf lettuce, prize head lettuce, black seeded Simpson lettuce, all sorts of, there's 8 packs in here. So hopefully we will get some good lettuce out of here. And I think I am going to use all of the pods. I don't think I'm going to separate them. I'm not one for spacing. I like to just condense things and get them to maximize my yield. So yeah, let me get going here. We'll go through the prompts on the screen as well, so you have an understanding of how to get through that. It's really basic. I mean, once you set it up, you lower your lights, you got everything going, the pump's working. I mean, you just leave it alone. And the great thing is, well, on your phone, which I'm using to shoot video, you get notifications, and it tells you like when the water's low, when you need to change the water, if something's wrong with the system. So it really kind of, keeps you on your toes. So anyways, again, let's not ramble anymore. Let's get into it, and I will show you from step one how to get this thing going, and you'll be on your way to whatever you decide to grow, lettuce, tomatoes, whatever else. One final thing before we get into this. I think I'm going to start branching out and trying to grow other things. I've only had experience, well, I've had experience with 3 things, basically. Some herbs, which grew pretty well. Not the best, but pretty well. Acceptable. I've had, of course, lettuce, like I said, and tomatoes. So, okay, so let's get into it. Enough of that, and let me show you how to do this. All right. All right, we're back here, and we are now facing the AeroGardens, and kind of excuse this mess in this laundry room. I'm using it as a makeshift makeshift greenhouse for right now. So we have, like I said before, we actually have 2 of them, AeroGardens, and I got the lights on right now. And the great thing about these units is if you just move into here and you press this down, this down arrow, if you can see, it's bringing the light right down. And that's important because during the beginning stages of when a seed is trying to germinate, you need to maximize the light. You need to get it as close as you can to the plant within about 6 inches. I mean, you don't want it right on top. That's kind of ridiculous. But okay, so we got the lights, right? And let's just go through the things you need to grow this, right? So like I said before, you need this growing medium of some sort. It's like a coconut fiber thing. Now, usually, AeroGarden will send you these things, which they worked fine, have no problems. There's little like cork things in there that you drop the seed in. Of course, they'll send you some solution, some liquid plant food, and you'll get these little tops, right, that keep the moisture in when you're trying to germinate the seed. Aside from that, you will need to fill up your containers down here, and these lids come right off, but you don't need to do that. You can just fill it up right here, and you fill it up when it gets to this line. Right up here it says, I'm not sure if you can see that. See if I can see. Yep, there you go. See, it says max filled. So that's where you go to. So let me put my camera down, and let's at first, you know what, actually, let's go through the prompts here, because that can be somewhat, not going to say confusing, but it can it'll be easier for you if you can just follow along here. So there's kind of two ways to do it. You can do quick plant, which will basically start this over, or you can go into more options, and then you can go to quick plant. So let's do the more complicated one. Now, when you're doing quick plant here, let me try to really kind of zoom in here. It says this, so this will now prompt you through how to set this up. So of course it wants to know what time it is, because it's got to operate the lights and the pump. And as you know, you don't put your lights on 24/7. You know, the plants need some time away from light. You know, any living thing kind of goes through these cycles, right? So then if this is correct, and let's just say it's not, so you just go in here and change it, AM, PM, you hit OK. Once it's correct, you go into settings. Now here, it gives you a list of options of what you're growing. Because again, the lights need to be on a certain amount of time. So if you're doing lettuce, which we're doing, then that's what we'll do. We'll hit lettuce. I mean, you got herbs, flowers, tomatoes, peppers, and custom. So let's hit lettuce. And then, you know, this is just giving you a note that, you know, well, let's just read it. It says custom settings were previously in place. Default settings have been restored to optimize lettuce growth. So that's what we want. And it's going to be on for 15 hours and 30 minutes per day. So that's good. And this just tells you when you want this light cycle to happen. Now I want it, the sun gets here, the sun comes up at about 6 and goes down about 9:30. So I kind of want it the same, so I'm not having like this blaring light going out my window and people thinking I'm, you know, doing something illegal. So the next thing is, so now this tells you exactly what to do. So what you do here is, you know, fill the water up, and then put in the grow pods, and then the plant food, and then once you're done, you hit OK, and you're ready to go. And then this screen is excellent, right? Because like I showed before, you can lower the light, you can raise the light, you can turn the light on and off. This tells you how much water you got going on in there, and this tells you when to add the plant food, because that's important. If the plant isn't getting the nutrients, it will die. It doesn't do good without the nutrients. It needs, you know, light, water, nutrients, and you know, some way to support it, so the growing medium. So that's it for there. And then of course, well, one other thing, there's days planted, and as this, you know, as the plants get older, it kind of switches into different modes. So let's start following the steps. It's very simple. So number one, let's come over here. Let me grab my jug, and let's just start filling this up. And I think as that's filling up, I think what I'm going to do here is alright, so we got our first gallon of water, and we just pour it in here. Whoop, and see, that's, you got to be careful, especially if you're doing this on carpet, because if you pour too fast, you'll have the issue of water getting everywhere. So in my experience, this has taken about 2 jugs of, you know, 2 1-gallon jugs of water to fill all the way up. Alright, so we got jug 2 here, and let's just slowly pour that in to the base here. And as you can see right there, we've hit the max fill line. So our next task is we want to make sure this, and this has a note on it, it says press firmly. So just want to press that down, because if you take this off and you turn the pump on, all the water's coming shooting up. And how do I know that? Well, I did that once. So that's something you want to avoid. So yeah, make sure this is nice and down. For now, you don't have to do this, but you can just throw that back on here, because remember, we still need to put some of this plant food in there. So let's go back up here and let's turn on the pump and make sure everything is working properly. All right, so we got our pump working, which is excellent news, and you can tell that the water is flowing through each one of these, which is good. So our next step here is well, we can do either or, but I think we're going to feed it now. We're going to put the liquid plant food in there, if I can talk. Liquid plant food. Okay, so let's do that, and then after that we'll get planting. All right, so we have our liquid plant food here, and of course we always want to shake this up before administering. And if you read on the back of here, it says for 12 pod models, which is what we have, these at startup and second feed, and that might be a little hard to see, we need 4 capfuls. Okay, let's see, I'm going to take that off, and it doesn't have to be precise. 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't try to be smart about this and think that it's okay to put a little extra in there, because it's not. It actually will kill your plants. So don't do that. Even if you're tempted, don't do it. Okay, so our next step here is to put the pots in, and let's do that. Okay, we have these pots here, and as you can see, we have a huge bag of them. And you know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure we have enough of these. Yeah, we probably don't. Not even close. Which is fine. I'll just have to get more later. But nothing, no rocket science here. Just kind of drop them in there, and we'll do this for all of them. And as time goes on here, you should start seeing these get pretty wet. And that's important, because when we drop the seeds in here, we want it to be pretty wet. All right, so let's give these a couple minutes to kind of acclimate and get a little more wet before we put the seeds on there. All right, so these are starting to wet up nicely. So let's, in the meantime, open our seed pack and let's make a decision here on what we want to plant. So I think we're going to pass on the Paris Island. Price head looks like a winner. red romaine, I think we're going to pass on. This iceberg, I think we're going to pass on. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to do these 4. Surprise Head, Black Seeded Simpson, Lola Rosa, I think that's how you say that, and Ruby Red rather. Let's do. That doesn't really matter, does it? Let's just start with this one. Okay, and you know, read the package, of course, but since we're doing this indoors, it's not much. Okay, so this is where the fun part comes in, because these seeds are so tiny, and because of the space constraints, we don't really want to plant more than 1 each, but at the same time, we got to make sure we're germinating these. So it might, well, see, I got 3 in there. That's fine. I mean, it's okay to thin these out. You're not gonna get in trouble for that. Yeah, so my suggestion is try to plant maybe 2 or 3, and then when the time comes, you can thin them out. Because I found that these, you know, I mean, there's really not a lot of space here. Really not a lot of space here. And it really does no good for the plants to compete. Okay, so we have all of our seeds, at least for this pod, planted. So our next goal here, and these little caps come with your unit here, and they don't have to be on super tight. It's, you know, it's not imperative. It's not like the seed won't generate. You just want to kind of increase the humidity in there just slightly to get it going. Sometimes some of these like to get stuck. There we go. There we go. All right, so that is basically it for planting these. There's one other thing we need to do, and that's, of course, lower this light down. And we shall do that now. Okay, so to lower this light down, we just hit right, and then we hit this down button and hold it. And as you can see, the light is coming down, and you want to let it come down all the way until it stops, because again, we want to give the plant all of the sunlight it can possibly get right now, because we want to germinate them. And that's it. And then, you know, the system will give you notifications when something needs to happen, such as plant food or water. And that's it. So I'm just going to leave the camera going here as you watch me do the rest of these, and enjoy. All right, so let's move on to the second box here. And I should let you guys know that well, I'll hold off on that until I get some water in here. I should let you guys know that these lights are pretty intense. Like I'm getting kind of hot in here. And I suspect this room is going to start getting on the warmer side. And yes, I know I'm going out of order here, but the order of it doesn't really matter all that much. It's just making sure you do everything. Okay. So let me get some water now. All right. Like before, we need to get some water. Fill her up. Whoop. And I did what I didn't want to do. Okay, I've lost my towel. All right, let's get some more water. Okay, we got our second gallon of water here, and before I dump that in, I'm just gonna plug in the pump here. And good deal, I hear the pump. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so like we said before, we're dealing with 12 pods, so 4 catfuls. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, making a total mess. That's all right. All right, put that. Well, let's just put it up. All right, let's. And these are already getting nice and wet. That one's already nice and wet. Some work. All right, let's drop in our ruby red lettuce. Just gotta get somewhat comfortable here. Rip off the top. And seems like all lettuce seeds are tiny. Oh shoot, that's got 3 in there. Let's see. And this is the most tedious part of the job, is just getting these seeds. And you want to make sure the seeds are down in there and touching the wet, area. Because you need all 3 things to happen, right? You need your sunlight, you need your water, and you need your nutrients. And well, the growing medium is kind of a given. You gotta grow it in something. There we go. All right, I believe all of these just so I remember here, river red in this one, and then we know the other one. Let's drop the container on here. So I would say I give these, well, I don't know, maybe come back in a week. There should be something going on here. There should be a little bit of something going on here. We're all set. All right, so we got it all planted, and let's see. Let's just does it give us how long this is going to take to produce? No. Well, we definitely should have lettuce and, well, 2 kinds of lettuce at least in a month from now, roughly. All right, so the very last thing, of course, is to drop this light down a bit, and we shall be on our merry way. I think for the time being, I'm just going to hold off on doing these because, well, number one, I ran out of these pods. Number two, I want to stagger this a bit so I'm not getting one massive crop of lettuce, all in a month. I probably would get to wait a couple weeks, so I have a period there where I'm getting a good thing of lettuce. Now you could, stagger this a week if you really wanted to, and really kind of extend it. But for now, I think this is the way I want to go. Okay, well, thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you hopefully tomorrow or the next day. Have a great day. Thank you.